What would the world be like if you had all the faith, self-confidence, and self-worth in the world? Just imagine what that would be like. Faith is something that not all of us tap into all the time. Self-confidence is something that a lot of us never gain. And then that self-worth, the same thing. Stick around because we've got a really great show for you today with one of our authors, Kay McBreairty. Hi, I'm Linda Sunshine West, the founder and CEO of Action Takers Publishing. One of our books coming up is Unstoppable, Female Entrepreneurs Living Fearlessly. And I'm excited to bring up one of our authors, Kay McBreairty. Kay, it's great to see you here today. How's everything going?
Going good, thank you. Thanks for having me, Linda.
I've known you for maybe a little over a year now, and Unstoppable is definitely, when that book title came out, I knew that you were a perfect fit for it. So I would love for you to tap into what it is that you do today, because your chapter title in the book is Faith, Self-Worth, and Confidence. I know I said self-confidence earlier, but hey, it's the same thing as confidence. But why don't you share with us, how did you get into this chapter title based on what you're doing today?
Based on what I'm doing today is working with veterans before they get out of the military or shortly thereafter on that transition as it comes to career path and things like that. Big part of it is you hear the phrase stepping out in faith because a lot of the time, you choose not to re-up to be in the military and to get out. And that in and of itself takes some confidence. And what I do enjoy working as well is helping individuals see that anything really is possible. That is a phrase that can sound cliche, but when we see our inherent worth, then anything is open to us. And that's part of what I like doing, working with individuals to help them see and tap in, because once they know that they deserve something, each individual of us, when we realize our worth, then it gives us confidence and it helps us re-engage with our faith, because yes, I can move forward. I do deserve this. And I enjoy working with people and relaying those types of paths for them and guide them through those milestones for themselves.
Well, let's talk about the work that you do. You help people who are currently in the military. They're getting ready to transition out. What was it about that got you into it? I know you were in the military, so thank you so much for your service. Was there a challenge, like when you were leaving the military yourself, that you experienced maybe some sort of disconnect, or you really weren't sure where to go, that led you to this type of work?
Absolutely. I really wish when I had gotten out of the Air Force that there was someone like me to help. One of the biggest hurdles I found was being able to translate just a new language. In the military, you have a language around the work that you do, and every industry has buzzwords or whatnot, but also we take a lot of training and certain nomenclature, if you will, for things. So I had a challenge when I got out to translate the skills and experience into civilian speak, if you will. So the short version of that is that I was a certified paralegal in the Air Force.
Mm-hmm.
And because when I would go to job interviews as a paralegal, I'd get that glazed look on a person's face. They just weren't getting it. The best I could do at that time, which was still a great career, was as a legal secretary, but it was less money in making that transition. And I did go and pay to have a school, attend one that gives a certification again as a paralegal in the civilian world. And then I was able to transition back to being a paralegal. So I just really love to help veterans not have to go through a stumble like that, but at least make a lateral move when they get out. And it doesn't necessarily have to be in that exact career path, because
Mhm.
what I help them see is how their skills and talents can transition to other careers that they may enjoy more.
I love how you bring that up because I was 36 years in the workforce. I had 49 jobs. So, I had a lot of different experiences. And when I started my own business as a publisher, I was like, oh, good. I'm not going to have to do any of that stuff anymore. Quite the contrary. I was, I was able to tap into those skills that I had as a legal secretary, because I was legal secretary for over 20 years. I was able to tap into those skills and apply them to my business. So I think that's a really important piece there, is to not look at the job as the job, the title, but to look at the different skills that you learn in the job and how you can apply those to different types of positions. In the military, one thing that I think that they're really well known for is being able to follow a routine, right? Because there's a lot of routines in the military, and that's something that can be translated into other types of jobs, or for employers to see the value in somebody who's in the military, because you might bring that to the table, whereas some other people might not have that ability or skill to do that kind of thing. So, when you transitioned out, you went through this period. How long was the period from the time you got out to the time that you went to be a legal secretary, and then you went and you got your certification, and then you became a paralegal? It's like, what was that time period?
So at 18 months,
Okay, so if you had somebody like you could have short circuited that time.
yeah, I would have cut out the different job family and done at least a lateral as a paralegal. And my existing certification would have worked for me. I wouldn't have had to have gone to school again. It didn't hurt me any, obviously, but yeah, just smooth right into it. And
Well, I'm imagining that must be a little frustrating to go from, serving your country to being out of, no longer serving your country in that capacity, and then going into the civilian world and not having things line up properly. I imagine that must be a little bit frustrating.
well, it was at the time. I think my mindset might have been a little bit different in that I really wasn't fearful because of my faith. I knew that I knew that I knew that it was going to work out there. I
Mm.
had gotten out on the East Coast and traveled and moved to the Seattle area.
Mhm.
And I didn't have a job, I didn't have a place to live. So I just knew that it was going to work because of my faith and that I did have abilities. And yes, it was frustrating, uh, but it just goes along with knowing that there were going to be some bumps along the way because I didn't have all that stuff lined up.
Yeah.
But I've always had confidence. It was the self-esteem that I had lacked before I had done some other learning and personal growth and whatnot, but definitely had the faith and the confidence. So yeah, they were some bumps, and I just love helping others not have to experience those kinds of bumps on their transition from active duty to being a civilian again.
Yeah, I love that. And now maybe you were different than some other people. There might be other people who might experience the frustration. You had a different mindset. And so that's maybe, by working with you, that's something that you can help them through, so that maybe when they get out, they don't have any of those potential frustrations of that experience. And, I know a lot of people who were in the military and got out, and it was hard for them, very hard for them. My son is one great example. He was in the military during the Afghanistan war. And when he got out, things were completely different than he thought they were going to be. So and it was a long period. His like a 10-year period, instead of 18 months. So it does range. It varies based on what your skill set is and what you want to do and your mindset and all of that stuff. And I love how you are helping our veterans with this. So what could we, as us listening right now, what can we do to help you, to help more veterans? What is it that you're looking for right now?
Well, I am putting together more and more of a program for large volume of group coaching. And what I find is everyone knows a veteran, if they aren't themselves, either their child or their cousin or their uncle or someone, and just spread the word, if you will, that this type of service is available. New programs are coming online in a couple of months. I'm putting those things together. And I encourage even the family member of the military, if they want to join in. I have a reduced cost in the program for them, because anyone can benefit from learning what they might want to do differently based on the skills they have. And maybe they're in a transition and want to do something different, and really open it up and have families be able to be very supportive as well, because we get out, their loved one might want to do something very different. So it helps all the way around with being able to be supportive. But get the word out at reach out to me, reachingyourpotential.world. And as my programs are finishing up to launch, then I can get in touch with them.
Awesome. Fantastic. I love that. Now we're talking to Kay McBreairty. She is one of the authors of the book Unstoppable: Female Entrepreneurs Living Fearlessly. You can get your copy of the book, as well as we have a lot of free gifts over there for you. Go to actiontakerspublishing.com/unstoppable. That's actiontakerspublishing.com/unstoppable. And then also, if you will be so kind as to follow us, Action Takers Publishing, we're on Facebook and Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn, all as Action Takers Publishing. Please go follow us over there. So, Kay, I love what you're doing. I think it's so important. You know, my husband, my son, my father, you know, they were all in the military, my uncle. And so, you know, it's really important for them to be able to get out and assimilate much more quickly, because the longer it takes, I think that I imagine that several of them may feel left behind a little bit, you know, like you feel lost or what have you. And so I think that what you do is very, very important to help people to lift their spirits and to help them to get out and feel like, awesome, I got this, I can do this, especially if you serve a long period of time, because my son was in for 4 years, but you do longer than that, 20 years, 30 years. Some people do, you know, long terms. And when they get out, it's like, what do I do? Who am I? Who am I? I don't fit in this world, you know, kind of thing. And I've heard those kinds of words before. And so I just imagine that it must be a tough situation. You know, I haven't gone through it myself, but, you know, thank you for the work you do. I think it's so important.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. It's great to visit with you and get your perspectives as well. I'm always learning from you.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I know we were talking one day, and there was something I mentioned that they used to have. There was a sort of program, kind of not exactly what you're doing, but kind of, where they were helping, you know, the military. It was for my son when he was in Camp Pendleton in California, and so I went there and I was listening to what they had to share, and it was great, you know, the stuff that they were sharing, but not as detailed as what you're doing. And I think it's really important. And I don't know if the military is still doing that kind of program or not, but, you know, if you're in the military and you're looking to, like, what am I going to do when I get out? Definitely reach out to Kay. You can find her at reachingyourpotential.world, reachingyourpotential.world. Head on over there, see what she's all about, what she has to offer. If you are a spouse or a sibling or a family member of somebody who is in the military currently, who is getting ready to get out, reach out to Kay as well, because there might be something that she can help you do in order to make the transition for your family member, your loved one, make it a lot easier by having your support, because then you know what they're going through. And that's one of the challenges. If we don't know what somebody's going through, how can we support them? Right. So this is one way to help them to understand more of what's going on. So again, go to reachingyourpotential.world. connect with Kay. So Kay, with the book, Unstoppable, Female Entrepreneurs Living Fearlessly, what would you like our readers to take away from reading this book?
One of the things that I would love for you all to take away is knowing that you can move forward, knowing that you deserve what your heart's desire is. The self-worth part of the chapter that I wrote is pivotal for that. Our faith, absolutely, our confidence level are all important, but really the self-worth, know that you deserve everything good that you desire.
I love that. So good. So good. And some of us don't believe that. And we have to, have the help of other people in our lives to help us to believe that. Go get your copy of Unstoppable, Female Entrepreneurs Living Fearlessly at actiontakerspublishing.com/unstoppable. Thanks so much for being here. Share this video out if you liked it, if you like the content. If you know somebody who's in the military or somebody who is related to somebody in the military, please share this video out with them, because you never know who needs the support. You just don't know. So go ahead and share it with them. Thanks so much, Kay. Appreciate you.
Thank you. You as well.
Okay, so first of all, I like being in any of the Action Taker or publishing books, and I think I'm at this point I'm addicted to being in these collaborative books. So I'm going to grab as many as I can, right? But I do resonate with this title because not because of the swear word, but because being in Linda's world, this is all about up-leveling your life by doing the things that most people don't do. And I think that just being in this sphere of influence has helped me tremendously to overcome a lot of my barriers. And I want to help spread that wisdom with as many people as I can.